Right here? Yep.
That's what I do. I just go get me a lawyer. I say, tired of the crap every time I have law come out here, they don't want to do a dang thing. I just go get me a lawyer and say,
We've done hired attorneys. We've done went in front of the judge 2 or 3 different times.
I guess you just gonna have to get another one.
Well, Jimmy, I can't continue to be out money like this over a bunch of heathens that know better than to vandalize somebody's property.
That's all I know I can tell you to do. I can't do any more than that.
Would you get on somebody's property and do that?
Well, a long time ago I did it at a high school. But I did it in the car. Did through the goalpost.
But you done it, and you know that you shouldn't have done it whenever you done it, right? Yeah. Don't you think whoever done this, that they know they left some glasses behind? So I've got some evidence in addition to the damage that's been done to the yard. But this isn't the first time that I've been vandalized. Whenever David was living, they was out here throwing eggs and stuff at us. And of course the sign got vandalized, the mailbox got vandalized, all this other stuff. So what do you do about it? You go to court, you go in front of the judge, and the judge basically just kind of waves it off. I mean,
I don't know.
They're waiting for something. They live up there, where Donnie Ridgeway lives on that one corner, going towards Sidonia. The next bin on the next corner is right there on the left-hand side. John Lee Land's husband built that house back years ago.
Well, like I said, you don't have proof that they did it, but you do have proof that they got out here and shot you the finger and revved the motors all up.
And within 6 hours, this happened.
And then late, what?
Within 5 or 6 hours, this happened.
1 o'clock in the morning or something?
Yeah, 1 o'clock at night. They're just using me as a whipping post out here, the whole community, including the judicial system in this area.
Put it on Facebook, all I can do.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build public interest to where somebody would take enough interest in what's going on to raise a red flag to the judge and the judicial system in this area, because nobody should have to go through this kind of crap that I've went through in the past 4.5 years since I moved back here, Jimmy. Nobody should have to have went through all this.
That's all I can tell you about that right now. I gotta get her to Fulton.
Fulton?
Yeah, she lives in Fulton.
All right.
I'll talk to you later.
All I can do is tell my side of the story. All I can do is tell my side to the general public. Now, whether or not the general public believes me, or whether or not they want to side for me, that's up to them. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, I got plenty of proof. I know. They're determined that they're not going to leave me alone. They're determined that they're going to agitate and aggravate and keep raising my blood pressure up to the point that I wind up croaking like my brother. They're determined that they're going to terrorize my life while I'm living here up onto the planet. So sad. And the whole time I'm standing up for I think, or I thought, was a good thing. I went up to Paris Landing yesterday, displaying my flags, in which nobody has showed any type of solidarity towards appreciating me doing what I'm doing. And this includes the United States military, and it doesn't matter what branch. But nobody has showed any type of appreciation towards what I'm doing. I've had a few. I take that back. I've had a few. Like yesterday, I was at Walmart there in Paris, getting a few things, and one of the people that worked there, young kid, come out and looked at my truck. He goes, "Man, I love your truck." So there are some people out there that admire what I'm doing and don't mind displaying it, don't mind showing it, don't mind telling it. But as far as these people around here, nah. Nah, they see me as a nuisance. They don't see me as an asset. They see me as a liability. And that's the way that I've been viewed by these people around here now for 30 plus years. Just tells you, it speaks in volumes towards what kind of people that these people are around here that would degrade me and demoralize me, demonize me, because I'm trying to do a good thing, not only in the eyes of being a good patriot, but also in the eyes of God Almighty. All these churches has turned their back on me. And it's sad because they've done the exact same thing to all the other prophets. They've done the exact same thing to the Lord Jesus Christ. Whatever happens to this group of people over here in America, especially the hardcore Native Americans that have been here now most all their lives, and some of them 3 or 4 or 5 generations. Whatever happens to them, they have brought this injustice up into their own country by following more of the pretense of darkness more so than light. And I'm just going to use this as just one simple example that I think a lot of true Christians will understand. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be a teacher, an instructor. You don't have to be some sort of a Bible scholar to be able to read the Bible and understand that lesbianism and homosexuality is against God's rules and His regulations. It speaks of it very, very plainly, of how God shuns that type of activity because it's immoral. It wasn't meant for Adam and Albert or Eve and Elvin to have an affair and to make out. Whenever you have groups and groups and groups of churches that don't protest whenever the Supreme Court voted all that into power, it once more speaks volumes about the church communities that was so lax that wasn't none of them willing to speak out against that type of activity. Why wasn't they willing to speak out towards that type of activity, those type of practices? Simply because they themselves are involved in that type of activity, or they are favored towards liking that type of activity. Most guys, I can speak from a manly perspective. Most men who are heterosexual don't mind watching 2 women get it on. I can't speak from the opposite direction towards most women that are heterosexual. I don't know if they like watching 2 men get it on. I don't know, because I'm not a woman. I know this. These are facts. Whenever you have such intolerableness activities going on, and the church community does not stand up and oppose it towards rejecting it, then you have a church community that is accepting it, because you can't have it both ways. Jesus said, either you're for me or you're against me. Either you're part of the problem or part of the solution to the problem. Either you're going forward in life or you're going backward in life. You can't have it both ways. You're either going to do the right thing according to the Bible, or you're going to do the wrong thing. And one of the things that has corrupted this nation is that too many people have sat on their hands, and rather than do the right thing, they have chose to do the wrong thing. And by choosing to do the wrong thing, makes them an accessory to the crime or to the activities that's going on in the countryside or in your neighborhood. We've had too many lax liberal Christians that was not willing to stand up to the heresies that has been taught towards saying that homosexuality is a good thing or it's acceptable in the eyes of God, because it's not. Just like stealing is not acceptable in the eyes of God. Just like lying is not acceptable in the eyes of God. Just like murder is not acceptable in the eyes of God. And whenever you have a society, not an individual person, but a group, a society, that now no longer opposes those activities, then is whenever you have a society that is given in to that type of action. That's where we are today. These problems that has been evolving around David and I's life, of course David's gone now, my brother, David Jeffrey Jackson, but these occurrences, if I was in, let's say, Dyer County, Gibson County, Lauderdale County, Henry County, I almost would be willing to bet the farm that these occurrences would have already been put to rest, one way or the other out here, long before now. That has now went on for 4.5 years. Just like I was telling Jimmy Norton a while ago. I was talking to him on the telephone before he ever pulled up. The only thing that I know to do is put this in the interest of the public. And until there's a major election towards voting out people that is in power right now, you know, I could go up there and talk to Mike Wilson. Been knowing Mike Wilson for 40 years. Been in power. He's been in power now for what, 33, 34 years. But I guarantee you, all I'm going to be doing is whistling Dixie. Because of all the backbiting and all the mudslinging that I have done either on Facebook or YouTube. Do you really think that he's going to get in behind these problems and initiate some sort of a solution to this? No. No, he's not. The DA ain't going to back it. The judge ain't going to back it. Tommy Thomas ain't going to back it. Because they know, or let me rephrase this, they believe they know the will of the people, based around public reaction, based around public attitudes. And until there's a major election towards voting these people out, bringing in new blood, or until there's enough condemnation that falls upon to society regarding all the hardship, regardless whether it comes in the form of floods, famines, earthquakes, meteor displacencies, solar flares, divorces, diseases, war, being $22.5 trillion in debt, seeing all the people that's incarcerated in the prison system here in America. Until the people wake up and get enough of this, public reaction is going to dictate towards what people like Tommy Thomas, Tommy Moore, Randy Brundridge, Mike Wilson, and all these other highfalutin top politicians around here does. Now here you go. There's the people there that engaged so much sorrow into my life that had a daughter that lived right there. They've got another road over there. I thought that they had quit traveling these roads, but they got another road over there that they can get to their property, but they choose to go down mine. They either come down this road or they come down that other road. Why do they do that for? Being nosy. wanting to do this. 90-90 boo-boo, 90-90 boo-boo. Because they know that the dynamics is still favored for them. Even though it was them and people like them that caused all these troubles. Do you follow what I'm saying? And until I see enough condemnation fall upon to society, in which there'll be some of them that will take this to the grave that won't never have a change of attitude about me. And that's fine. I don't have a problem in that, as long as you're not out here attacking me again and again and again and again. Now, the officer the other night said, well, Jimmy, there's nothing we can do about people that has property across from you that wants to do services onto their own land. This is true, as long as they're over there and not out here in the middle of the road raising hell. But how many times have I showed video, either by Facebook or YouTube, to where that's exactly what they was doing? They was coming out here on the road and they was raising hell. Nobody has the right to stop in front of anybody's house, regardless whether you're on a secondary road, a public road, a state road, or even a lane. Nobody has a right to stop in front of somebody's house and just literally fly into them. Now, if you want to come out here and be peaceful, let's sit down, drink some lemonade or some tea, talk about various things. It doesn't matter if it's political or non-political. That's fine. I don't have a problem at all in people wanting to be cordial. There is such of a thing called cordial. People being nice. But these people, for the past 4.5 years since I've come out here, has been far, far from being nice. And it hasn't just been the Ridgeways. It hasn't just been the Sheffields. It's been several of them around here that I can point my finger at to say, this is what you said and this is what you done, and I've got proof to validate it. Not only do I have proof on my camera to validate what they have done, but I've got proof on my camera towards what they did not do in the court system up here in Weakley County. Got the goods on them. But yet now can't get no apology. Can't get nothing worked out. Can't resolve this problem towards these people driving up and down the road raising 19 kinds of hell. Which, once more, if you want to ride up and down the road and have a good time, I don't have a problem in that. I told my neighbor just down the road, because he's got 2 kids. He asked me, he said, Juby, do you have problems in my 2 boys? I said, no, I don't have a problem at all in your 2 boys. And the reason why is because whenever I was a kid, I used to do the same thing, either on a motorcycle or a 3-wheeler. See, back then they didn't have 4-wheelers. They didn't have razors back then. Times has changed. But they're still having fun. I don't have a problem at all in somebody having fun. But what I do have a problem is being attacked, being hunted, being violated. And I really have a problem in the judicial system that won't protect my rights, because I have obtained this property legally. It'd be different if I was out here illegally. But this property belongs in the family name, pertaining to an inheritance. And to see Tommy Moore, Tommy Thomas, prosecuting attorneys, and other law enforcement agencies around in this area, including Obion County, do what they have done since I've come back here is a disgrace. It's shameful. And it wouldn't matter if I was white, black. It wouldn't matter if I had 1.5 acres or 1,000 acres and a half. Now, it would in their eyes. Yes, sir, if I had 1,000 acres, I wouldn't be treated this way. If I was the Halls, if I was the Coopers, if I was the Jacobses, if I was the Nelsons, if I was the Bakers or the Willises or the Hayeses, the Wayne Scotts, I think I done mentioned their names. But if I was some of these other highfalutin people around here that's got hundreds and hundreds of acres, oh yeah, that'd be a difference. The court system would have done already solved this problem. Or if I was an aunt or an uncle, a nephew, a niece to some of the people that's in charge of the judicial system in this area, I would have been treated differently. But because they have pushed me completely out of the circle, going all the way back 30 plus years ago, I'm still feeling the effects of it towards being treated like a red-headed stepchild. And not only was I treated that way, but David was treated that way. My older brother was treated that way. My father was treated that way. And why these people have done this is of their own doings. Because if there was anybody that needed neighbor assistance during the time that I was raising up as a little child, we did. We needed that because my father had a problem. He went to World War II and he had a sickness. He had a really bad sickness. And just a little bit of maybe this or a little bit of that or maybe a hit or two off a joint, I don't know, a pill, counseling, I don't know, could have altered all of our lives if the community would have been a community. But instead of the community being a community, it was more like a settlement. Because a true community takes care of each other. And whenever something's out of order, it doesn't matter if it's somebody that's got a military background or somebody that's got a dope background or somebody that's got a mental illness background. The community takes care of the problems that's in the community. And I have tried to address this. David and I both hired money, good money, to attorneys and went in front of the judge legally on their terms. And it still hasn't been addressed. It still hasn't been taken care of after 4.5 years. Now, once more, have I failed to do the proper right thing? Has David and I failed? Or has the courts failed us? You decide. Public opinion. You decide. Those who have been paying attention to my Facebook and my YouTube platforms, you decide towards who's in the right and who's in the wrong here, towards allowing for this just to go on and fester on and on and on. Thank you for listening. Shalom. started watering it. Hopefully to come back before frost. That way it won't be so bad leaving a mud pile out here during the winter. Just got through talking to my niece out in California, and she's so heartbroken by all this. Of course, her herself has went through a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress. The pure mere fact that the Christian society pertaining to anti-Semitism is more realer today in this country and throughout this planet than it ever has been. It's not just going on in my life. It's going on in just about every true born-again Christian's life who has ever had a true experience with the Lord Jesus Christ of Nazareth. So sad what the Lord had to go through. And it's so sad. And the followers of the Lord and what they got to go through. So sad.